Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Monday, the 13th of February, comes to you from London. And we start, as always, by looking at currencies, then stock markets, commodities, and a few tech stocks. And we start with the dollar index, first of all. Just down slightly this morning, still flat, but we are still just gradually climbing above the cloud here. So it does look like the dollar index is finding support here on the cloud. So dollar strength is still there in the long term, the medium term, and we are just starting to see a short-term target. It's interestingly that's negated this target here. There was a downside thrust there. That's been negated with a move above where that target was given from. So we are just seeing that we are just getting new upside targets, about 1% upside. So the dollar is just looking a little bit more bullish. And if you look at the euro, we're below the cloud, just coming up this morning, but hitting resistance here. And conversely, we have a downside target here that we're playing for, about 0.5% downside to 105.70. So we are just seeing the euro selling off, and of course medium and long term still looks pretty bearish. Dollar against the yen is bullish. We're above the cloud, still not quite through on the long term chart, but looking pretty good, and we've just activated this upside target of 3.4%. So dollar strength is returning. And if we look at sterling, sterling is just hovering below the cloud on the lagging line, so we are just finding a little bit of resistance here this morning, just trying to get through on the daily cloud through the chart there. So it really could go either way. If we break above 126, then we've got 129.42. If we break below 123.50, we've got 117.70. So the key thing is wait for the break. We see these critical levels. Just keep an eye out on that. If we look at the euro sterling chart, this one inverted. So here, this is basically a euro is worth 85p, just falling a little bit. So the euro is worth less sterling pence, if you like. So what we're seeing here is just pound strength, euro weakness. If we look at the Swiss chart, sterling Swiss just still climbing, nudging this 125 level, and the Aussie dollar 163, up 1/3% this morning, but below the cloud, and we do have this activated downside target to 156. That's about 5% downside. So interestingly, the Aussie currency looking pretty strong. Looking at the US stock market, we start with the S&P 500 index, the main broad index for the US market. We're bullish above the cloud on all time horizons. We've got upside potential as much as 6% in the short term, 9 and 17 in the long and medium term, and 20% in the long term. US market's looking pretty good. Nasdaq 100 also up 1/3% on Friday, looking pretty strong as well, above the cloud on all time frames. Looking at the Russell index, up, this is the 2000, the very broad index in the US, up 0.75% and bullish on all three time frames, with upside potential now of 5.5%. So that's quite key. And then the tightly held Dow Jones index, only 30 stocks, really the big industrial stocks. We're seeing here that we are just breaking to new highs as well. We see that weekly high there. The chart's all looking pretty good. The Nasdaq E-mini is just up 0.09% this morning, so the US market, no real indication as to which way it's going to open. FTSE's up strongly this morning. We see here above the cloud, this is bullish. So we do have this 1.7% upside target to 7,390, and the FTSE 250 is looking even more bullish, just marching up the hill on this short-term trend here, another 2% upside. So the mid caps in the UK are looking pretty good. The DAX hasn't been looking as good as the UK market, but just poking through the cloud the short term this morning, just activating a new upside target of 3.3%, starting to look pretty good again. So that's quite key. The Chinese market is up another 0.5%, 0.63% this overnight, and we're seeing here just starting to wander out of the cloud. So China looking better and better all the time. These downside targets were worrying us in the long term, but we're starting to see the short-term picture improving. And if we look at the Hang Seng, we see again it's bullish now on all three time frames, just coming through on the long-term chart. So that's reassuring. The Indian market down very, very slightly, 0.03%, so no big change there. Just waiting for a break out of this sideways consolidation phase, but again looking bullish on all time frames and very big upside targets, 50% or more. Looking at the Australian market, up nearly 0.75% overnight. That's pretty good run, and we now see how we've deactivated downside targets coming back to play for these short-term upside targets. So we've got quite a lot to play for. Taking a look at commodities, we start with Brent crude, down nearly 1% this morning to 56, but we are above the cloud. So 56.26, we are above the cloud, so it's still bullish. Just seeing that sell-off, and much the same with WTI. Of course, we are down quite significantly, down 0.75% this morning, but above the cloud on all three time frames, so still pretty bullish. Looking at nat gas, it's really struggling here, back below the $3 level, so we're seeing just that kicking in as well. Gold has been one we talked about quite a lot, down $4 this morning to $29 an ounce. We are below the cloud at the moment on the short term, so we are just seeing a little bit of a respite in gold, although that medium term upside target was activated. Probably just feeling a bit of resistance to this medium term cloud, and here's the bounce in the long term cloud. So a mixed picture for the moment, but just short term looking a bit bearish, and much the same is true of silver. We see here again we're above the cloud, which is better than gold, but we're just hitting that same sort of resistance level as well. So quite key that. If we look at just some of the tech stocks, Apple has really been surging ahead, and we see here that we're bullish above the cloud here. Upside target of 13%, really just powering for that after those results, and we see on the long-term charts just stellar. Looking at Alphabet, which is of course Google. Google results a few weeks ago, not that good for the market, but actually just starting to recover in the short term as the market takes stock. So still looking pretty good. Amazon was up 0.2% on Friday. So again, they're just poking back up through the cloud here, starting to look better. Microsoft, an interesting play. Just at the moment, got some very good long-term targets on Microsoft. We see them here, 29%, 31% here. So we're seeing quite a lot there. And then the short term is just starting to look a little bit better, but we're not quite above the cloud. And then last of all, Facebook is really nudging new all-time highs. So of course that's great news for the stock. As technical analysts, we like new all-time highs. Not quite through, but we are just a little bit higher there, and we all see just a plethora of upside targets for Facebook, so still looks pretty good. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.